Hey everyone, welcome back to Andie Talks Too Much. Well, originally it was going to be a sound-only podcast, but I only get a chance to show off the costume I'm wearing for Halloween this year. Yes, this is who I'm going to be, probably. I have a few other costumes I could use, but I haven't ever used this one for anything yet. So, anyway, this video, once again, Twitter has become a source of material for my channel. And this comes from yet another article from Medium, and that article is called "Trans People Can Be Transphobic Too." Now, if you saw part 3 of They Want Us Dead, then you know that I mentioned that some groups will use appeals to purity and things like that to try and throw other members of the group under the bus to try and say that, no, we're the true representatives of this group, but you're just the faker, you're the poser, you're the sellout. And yeah, this is pretty much the exact type of thing I was talking about. But this article actually is entirely about known trans medicalist Blair White. So this is gonna be fun. This might sound petty, but I recently retweeted infamous trans YouTuber Blair White and called her a fascist transphobe. She replied to me, and 200,000 plus followers descended upon me quickly. The most popular type of comment was, how can she be transphobic if she's trans? Yeah, I've often heard people try to use this defense and with saying, how can I be racist if I'm black? Yeah, you can be racist toward black people while being black, and just like you can be transphobic and be trans at the same time. I never understood why people are like this. I mean, it doesn't help you, it doesn't help them, it just drags everybody else down. Indeed, how can a trans person be transphobic? Is that even possible? Yes, it is. You see, Blair does not believe that non-binary people are valid. There's a video here, but I'm not actually going to watch it for obvious reasons because I hate Blair White. She basically says non-binary people aren't scientifically valid and they're not real in the way binary trans people with gender dysphoria are real. She calls them genders of the weak and says there's nothing to measure them with. Okay, how does she think binary genders are measured is another question here. But I don't understand why this is happening right now, why people are just throwing so much hatred toward the non-binary community, because I think it's because they think that if they throw one of these people under the bus, like the ones that are the butt of the jokes, because I don't know why non-binary people are the butt of any jokes, but they think that if they throw them under the bus, they can make themselves look like one of the good ones to their oppressors. And it's like, no, they're out to kill all of us. It doesn't matter how much of a good one you think you are. They're gonna come kill you, and they're gonna come kill everybody else, me included, actually. Blair espouses a nasty belief system called transmedicalism, which is the view that being trans is a medical condition that only people with clinically significant levels of dysphoria or are transgender. Basically, the more you suffer, the more real you are, apparently. Not only is this false, it's a harmful form of gatekeeping, which actually prevents trans people from getting the care they need. And speaking of dysphoria, Blair seems wholly ignorant of the fact that some non-binary people, like myself for example, do have gender dysphoria and take hormones or have surgeries. I know many non-binary folks like myself, actually. It's not that uncommon, but wanting medical intervention is definitely not required for being trans. She even has a video called Trans, and yes, I had to bleep that out for obvious reasons, where she says non-binary identities are largely bull. And when I pointed all this out to her, rabid followers, the most common response is, it's not transphobic to say those things about non-binary people because non-binary people aren't trans. To which I say, bull. And I agree, that is bull. The most common definition of transgender is having a gender different from the gender you were assigned at birth. And yeah, that is accurate, pretty much. I've had so many people try to pull that argument on Twitter, saying, oh no, you're only trans if you're medically transitioning. And the worst part of it is coming from people who weren't even trans to begin with. They are trying to say that they understand it better than a person who actually is, and it doesn't make sense. I don't understand. It's like when you have people like try to explain to somebody why something isn't racist. And I've come across that on Twitter too, where people try to explain to me why the N-word is not racist. And they're almost always white for some reason. Like, yeah, you didn't have to experience getting called that word. If you're non-binary, you have a gender different from the one you were assigned at birth, i.e. boy or girl. Thus, if you're non-binary, you are trans. Pretty simple argument, but you'd be surprised how many of Blair's followers refuse to accept the simple point. Invalidating non-binary people is a form of transphobia. Saying non-binary people aren't trans is a form of transphobia. And this is a problem I keep bringing up. Is something I keep seeing all the time on social media. It's like saying I'm not really black because I don't know, I didn't get beaten up by the police or something. Like, well, I have been profiled by the police, by the way, so yeah. But it's like saying that the more pain you have, the more value you are, which is a complete bull. And beyond her invalidation of non-binary people, Blair has also said some pretty gross things about binary trans women, usually resorting to making fun of their appearance, or even misgendering them if they don't live up to her impossible standards of patriarchal femininity. And here she is being a person and making fun of gender non-conforming, non-binary persons. Funny thing is, I'm actually writing a video for one of my classes that actually tackles that concept about how the whole issues with anti-trans policies are basically largely anti-feminist in a way, because of the way they try to enforce what they think what they think women should be like. And it's very clear that this is obviously going to be used to attack all women, trans and cis. And if somebody is cis and supporting this, you will fall into this trap and it'll be used against you. Oh, and in case you were wondering why I called her a fascist and not just a transphobe, she is a Trump supporter, which makes her a deplorable, in my opinion. She is the very definition of anti-SJW MAGA Trump supporter. And again, I don't see how she thinks that helps her. I don't see how supporting somebody who kicks trans people out of the military, tries to make it legal to throw trans people off their jobs, or I don't see how you support this person and you're considering people who just don't look what you think a trans person should be like are considered the posers. You're actively selling out trans people. Which brings me to my conclusion. It's fully possible to be a trans person who is transphobic. Often this is born out of internalized transphobia or insecurity. Internalized transphobia is when you have a deep-seated transphobic belief about either yourself or others, thing that you have to pass in order to truly be trans, which definitely seems like the type of thing Blair thinks. Often this comes from insecurity about ourselves or our place in the world. It also comes from a lifetime of internalized hateful messages about trans people and not working through them in order to be a better person. So in a nutshell, Blair White is a fascist transphobe. And there you go. That is the article I wanted to share with you. Because of the fact that it's something I've been saying for a long time about people like ContraPoints and Blair White, that they oftentimes will say things like this and direct it toward and punch down toward non-binary individuals or people who can't pass or people who can't medically transition. They don't seem to understand the whole concept of different circumstances. Some people can't medically transition due to medical conditions or due to costs. Some people can't socially transition due to safety or social concerns. It's not easy for everybody to do it. They don't seem to. These people don't seem to understand that, but they want to gatekeep it to kick out certain people because they think those are the people that are dragging down the community. Newsflash: it's not them, it's you. You're the one dragging this community down. Blair White is a Trump supporter, and Trump is historically anti-trans. You're the one selling us out. You're the one dragging us down. You're the one that is the sellout. It does nothing to do with your appearance. You're just a terrible person. Alright, I think I'm going to end this here. So be sure to check out my other videos as well as Prizebox Questions videos, our channel's Prizebox Gaming and Prizebox Reacts, and check out my main channel, True Andie. Thanks for watching and stay spooky, everyone.